Jeff Bressler, Locust Grove, Oklahoma, $1 million Buck and Bull Championship preliminary round. Super Shannon in the chute, Dial Martinelli. Let's take a look at this bull. Hey, some nice work here for a bull that, so often happens at this time of the season. Bulls just start, obviously, in their development, getting kind of big, putting on all that extra weight, and are ready for cowboys. So you see Super Shannon trying the best he can with what he's got in terms of size and weight now. 81.2 points, 81.2 points. This is Major Trash, Roger and Teresa Corsi, Guyette, Alabama. See how the old Major does. Hey, nice solid performance there. Probably a little better than the bull we just saw, Super Shannon. The reason I bring that up is because you're looking at a bull here similar in size that is also cowboy ready but showing some good athleticism. 82.8 points. 82.8 points. Wilder Than Water lining up in the chute. Bioko Buckers, a bunch of Exxon Mobil oil workers working off the coast of Africa. They've partnered on bulls. And hey, look here. This partnership looks like it might turn into something. Nice performance for Wilder Than Water, a bull that's been consistent all season long. He might have just earned himself a trip to the $1 million Buck and Bull Championship. And indeed, I think he has. 86.2 points for Wilder Than Water. Son of Houdini coming up next. This is Who's Gone Wild, owned by the Kofelts and J&S Cattle. Who's Gone Wild as the chute gate opens, actually going wild. What a nice performance for this bull. Who's Gone Wild? This is a good news, bad news scenario here. The good news is that Who's Gone Wild put in a really nice performance. The bad news is the score probably will put him somewhere on the bubble of whether he'll make it in as a qualifier or not. 84 points, 84 points. It's probably going to take a little better than that to get into the $1 million Buck and Bull Championship. Coming up next, this is The Bull by Henry Mladenka of Patterson, Texas. Dirty Little Secret. Chute gate opens. Here goes Dirty Little Secret. Getting himself into a spin. Not much buck or kick there, and that's going to hold his score down. That was Dirty Little Secret. So we watched the replay. Couldn't break 80 there. 78.8 points. 78.8 points for Dirty Little Secret. Next bull up should be one of those legitimate contenders to qualify. It's Downwind, owned by the partnership of Wisnat Swalen and Isaacs. Hey, and qualify indeed. This bull has earned himself a trip to the $1 million Buck and Bull Championship through that performance. Downwind, let's take another look here. Bull pretty much doing it all right. Should be right up there in the top five. In the top five, indeed. Downwind, 88.6 points. That puts him in second place for the day behind Miss Kitty's Peacemaker. Bull with an ominous name up next. This is the Toxic Reaper, owned by Norman Bulls. Let's see how Toxic Reaper does. And Toxic Reaper tucking it in on the rear end, just not getting any kick there, not really good on the buck end. Just not a great performance for a Toxic Reaper here today. As we watch the replay, running off a little there. Then he turns himself back, but not getting a lot of buck or kick. Toxic Reaper, 73.4 points. El Bandito next to strike. Leap of Faith Buck and Bulls combined in the partnership with Stanley and Joanne Izzard. El Bandito, another big bull getting ready for a cowboy there. Solid performance for El Bandito. Not going to be good enough to qualify for the $1 million, but certainly the type of bull that's a great second chance championship contender. One more look here, turning on back. doing his thing. 83.8 points. 83.8 points. Wheel of Fortune is next for Jason and Amy Mogg out of Harrison, Michigan. This bull has moved himself up the ranks during the season, has a legitimate shot at making it into the $1 Million Buck and Bull Championship, and he's just proved his worth with that trip. That should lock in a spot for him. Jason and Amy also have a real nice bull we'll see later in Detroit Tiger that should make it into the $1 Million Buck and Bull Championship. 85.4 points, 85.4 points. So Jason and Amy can breathe easy. They got one in the $1 Million Buck and Bull Championship. Next up, this is Monkey Ears, owned by Valerie Luke and J.C. Mead out of Thermopolis, Wyoming. Monkey Ears stumbling off the back end, and that's certainly going to hold down his score here. So an unfortunate break for Monkey Ears as he takes that stumble there and then immediately gets back into the spin, but his score is going to come in low. Monkey Ears scores 80.4 points. Speaking of scores, let's take a look at the top three. Miss Kitty's Peacemaker, 91.6. Downwind, 88.6. Arm Yourself, 88 points. Larry and Rhonda Reed. Gary and Loretta Reed, and their bull One More Time. One More Time is next. Bull acting up in the chute. Chute gate opens. Bull comes out backwards, kicks the inside of the chute. Now gets into a pattern. Now looking really good and finishes off super strong. But unfortunately, the bull's name is One More Time, and you don't get one more time to give it a try to make it into the $1 Million Buck and Bull Championship. This bull definitely should be into the wild card to try to grab one of those two spots that's not going to be determined today. 83.8 points, 83.8 points. And if he didn't get off to that bad start, he probably would have transferred in. Chako coming up next for Skip and Linda Johnston out of Fairbanks, Alaska. Chako putting his mind to things and bearing down. Nice little bull that did everything just about right there. Good news, just like with the Kofelts, the bull performed well. The bad news is he's probably going to have one of those scores that's going to put him right on the bubble. We're 42 bulls into 90. So I think Skip and Linda are going to have to sweat it out a little. Chako, 84.2 points, 84.2 points. This is It's Now or Never, Dick and Catherine Dial out of Aztec, New Mexico. It's Now or Never. Hey, another nice performance here. Good back-to-back efforts. It's Now or Never. I'll tell you, for all intent and purpose, watch this replay. This bull's going to not only transfer in, but probably be a top 10 bull when all is said and done by the end of the day. 86.4 could be the start of a big day for Dick and Catherine. They already have their bull, for all intent and purpose, Cardiac Kid in. Candy Cartel transferred into the $1 Million Championship earlier in the season via a bye. Little Bosephus up next. Jason and Amy Mogg out of Harrison, Michigan. Here he comes. 4 seconds are up. Good solid performance for Little Bosephus. Not the type of bull that has the talent to make it into the $1 Million Buck and Bull Championship, but certainly will fit right in the Second Chance Championship that'll be taking place during the National Finals Rodeo. 82 points for Little Bosephus. Let's see if Dick and Catherine Dial can make it in with another one. This is Easy Street. See how Easy Street does as the chute gate opens. Easy Street heading down the street. Now turns back and gets himself into a spin, but too little, too late for Easy Street as he decides to go down the highway. Here we see Easy Street. Now he turns back. But as I said, too little, too late. Only 79 points there. 79 points for the bull Easy Street. Ron and Linda Martinelli out of Corona, California. Their bull Pro Forma. Here comes Pro Forma. And Pro Forma, another one of those bulls that takes a while to get himself settled in the arena and get into some semblance of a pattern. but not the type of performance here that's worthy of either the Second Chance Championship or the $1 Million Buck and Bowl Championship. As we await the judges' score, 74.8 points, 74.8 points for Pro Forma. Big Legit is up next. Big Legit, owned by Exclusive Genetics. And Big Legit, not too legit today as the dummy comes off. Subpar performance here for Big Legit. Probably be the last time we see this bull as a 2-year-old. Waiting on the judges' scores here as we watch the replay one more time. 71.4 points. 71.4 points. Son of Major Payne now coming out. This is Major Juice M&P Buck and Bowls. Hey, Major Juice getting it on. Nice looking bull here. This kind of bull is probably destined to do well in the Second Chance Championship. As we've been mentioning all along the way here, well, once we got ourselves established with a number of scores, it's probably going to take around that 84.5 point range to transfer into the $1 Million Buck and Bowl Championship. I don't think this bull is going to reach that goal as the score now comes in 83.4 points. Legitimate contender to win the $1 Million Buck and Bowl Championship coming up now. This is Lavalanche, Larry and Rhonda Reed. Lavalanche slips a little outside of the chute, takes a couple of steps, then turns back and gets into a real nice pattern. You want to look at a bull that really does have a legitimate shot at the $1 million, $500,000 first prize. You're looking at him in Lavalanche. Only negative here might be that little, see that little slip he takes there, and then he takes a few steps out before he turns himself back. 87.4 points, though, puts him certainly in the top 10 with the trip to the $1 Million Buck and Bowl Championship. Cowtown Cartel coming up next. Burleson, Barnett, and Carpenter. Cowtown Cartel. Reasonable trip there. Not good enough to earn him a ticket to the $1 Million Buck and Bowl Championship. So this bull might be destined for a cowboy before we see him again in 2015. Cowtown Cartel, 82.8 points. 82.8 points for Cowtown Cartel. Let's take a quick look at the scoreboard. I'll give you the top three. Miss Kitty's Peacemaker, 91.6. Downwind in second place, 88.6. Third place, Arm Yourself, 88 points. Poco Loco coming up next. Sorum Vet, Desert Orchard Ranch. Poco Loco going plain loco here in the arena as he is not going to get a good score. Nice colored bull, though. But once again, color coordination does not earn you a spot in the $1 Million Buck and Bowl Championship. Shadowgrass will be next to Buck. Larry Barker entry. Barker Bowls along with Elite Buck and Bowls out of Parker, Colorado. Shadowgrass turning back now. Turning back too late there. So Shadowgrass disappointment for Larry out of Las Cruces, New Mexico. And Jim Young and Jerry Harmon as we wait on the score for Shadowgrass. 79.2 points. 79.2 points for Shadowgrass. Moss the Boss, Desert Orchard Ranch. This bull, when he is good, when he is on top of his game, could beat the best of them. And it looks like he might be on the top of his game today as he turns right back. Oh, no. Hesitates to change direction, and that will be Moss the Boss's downfall today as we watch the replay. Getting off to a great start, then sort of just hesitates and decides to change direction right here, then changes direction back. That's going to be his downfall, 82.2 points. Coming up next, the bull we have not really had the opportunity to see. This is Hornet's Nest, Gary Long out of the state of Washington, and man, Gary's brought a nice one here. Look at this guy go. Just a nice bull that's going to probably end up in the top 10. Once again, Gary, apple farmer out in the state of Washington. If we don't get the opportunity to see the bulls he brings in as he trains them in the state of Washington, 86 points, should be in the top 10. This is SpongeBob, another entry for Barker bucking bulls. SpongeBob, very absorbent today as he runs across the arena floor, so not going to be a good score for this bull, SpongeBob. So we watch him buck once again, 65.6 points, 65.6 points. Son of Fever's Rising, Fever's Alley, B&M bucking bulls. Fever's Alley takes a whole bunch of steps, gets into a little spin, then takes off again. So bull taking a few steps, then decides to go into the roundabout for a second before heading straight down the highway once again. That was Fever's Alley, B&M bucking bull, 72.8 points. Texas Pride, another Gary Long entry. Texas Pride now turning back. Heading straight down the highway again. Man, almost a carbon copy of what we just saw with that Fever's Alley bull. Takes a bunch of steps out, turns back only momentarily, then heads down the highway once again. So Texas Pride, 78.4 points. Big Tex coming up next for Barker bucking bulls out of Las Cruces, New Mexico. And Big Tex, another disappointment here for Barker bucking bulls, as they've bucked a number of bulls already today and still waiting for their first to get into the $1 million bucking bull championship through this qualifier. 68.2 points, 68.2 points. Give it another try with this bull, the Beast, Barker bucking bulls. Chute gate opens. Beast showing some nice kick and intensity there. Not really getting into a good spin. Going to break the 80-point mark, I would suspect, but not much above that. So waiting on the Beast score, 81 points. 81 points for the Beast. Mackenzie Novik's bull, Shadow. Next on Mackenzie, one of those owners that likes to flank his own bull, and now we're watching Shadow. Nice bull here. Not going to make that bubble line, not going to go above it for sure. Going to be a little ways below it too, but a nice bull here to go into the Second Chance Championship during bucking bull games at the National Finals Rodeo this December. 83.4 points, 83.4 points. Top three on the leaderboard, Miss Kitty's Peacemaker, 91.6 points. Second, Downwind, 88.6. Third, Arm Yourself, 88 points. You're watching the $1 Million Bucking Bull Championship preliminary round from Locust Grove, Oklahoma. We'll be right back.